Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today for my card making tutorial. That is my design team make for the Inspire Create Challenges blog. So the details of that blog are going to be in the description below. Do check it out. So we're using a sketch challenge, okay? So the picture of that will be on the blog there as well. So everyone's used that same layout just to inspire their make. So there'll be several other design team projects, I should say, that you can see for inspiration. And of course there's an opportunity there to add a photograph of a creation that you've made using that design too. Okay, so in a nutshell, we've got a central circle with an additional rectangle here, and some background that we want to put in halfway across the thing. I decided to omit the banner that goes across the middle, so you can pick and choose the elements that you want to work with. It just gives you a starting point. Okay, so my card has used the Petal Park stamp set and the coordinating punch. This is a bundle in the mini catalogue there. Okay, all right. So when you buy both the stamp set and the coordinating punch, or if it's a die bundle, you save 10% on the combined price, don't forget. Okay, so that's the how we're going to do the florals and stuff in the middle. The little tag portion uses these dies. So this is Something Fancy dies, and we have a tag that we're going to use there. So I've already die cut that ahead of time, and it's the largest one of these sort of rectangular dies there. So this is a lovely set that stands on its own, really. I haven't used the accompanying sentiment set. I've substituted that for this one called Best Family Ever. So this one's really cool because it's got all these lovely little events on it. So I've picked out Happy Birthday, but we could have also added some of the smaller sentiments on there as well, because of the size of the tag. So loads of things we could do with this one. And we've got Mum and Mom, which I really love. There's Great and there's In-Law, so we can really personalise our card making with this one. Okay. And then finally I've got the stylish shapes. So I've used the largest circle as the sort of drop for the flowers to build those onto, just to keep them in that sort of circular shape. So I've already done those two ahead of time. I just want to show you something else when we're doing this card. So I'm just going to pop those to one side if I can find a flat surface with anything else on it. Very busy in here today. Okay, so we've got those bits and pieces. It's a plain white card layer and a plain white card base that we've got. So we'll just pop those to one side just for the moment. Okay, so Petal Park. Okay, we've got the florals here on this stamp block, and it's all three flowers stamped together onto our cardstock. So let's grab some basic white to do some stamping there. Okay, and we want to be able to punch these out. So I'm just going to look at my punch, because when we're punching out, we want to be able to slide the punch into the paper and be able to punch them out easily without having to sort of rock and roll it around. So I need to make sure that the stamp is in this orientation. Somewhat like that. Okay, something like that. So the colourway, actually, I didn't tell you was the colours that I used in this one. This one's Fresh Free Shimmer and Pear Pizzazz. And then I brought in some early espresso for the sentiment. So you know I always like to give you some other colour ideas. So we're going to use polished pink for the flowers, soft succulent, and then I'm going to do the sentiment in Evening Evergreen, just to give you some different ideas on what colours you can use. Okay, so I'm sure you'll have your own ideas. So just really light tapping. Well, in fact, I'm not barely tapping. I'm just sort of touching the ink pad sorry, the stamp onto the ink pad and lifting it up again. If you've got a reasonably new, well inked pad, then you don't need a lot of pressure on there at all. So just going to pop that down, just firm even pressure, and I'm going to do 3 sets of these, and then they're done. And you may use all of them, some of them, whatever. So I'm just going to give that a good clean, because I like to get these pink inks off my stamps as quickly as possible. Just bear with me a second. There we go, that's it. So that'll be it for the pink, so we'll just pop that away. And then these will really nice and easily punch out now. Just make sure they're lined up. I mean, we've done our best with the stamp, but obviously it's not going to be perfect. So just use a few different points. I usually go for, you know, looking at each of the flowers and just making sure each one is just centered there. And we will punch that through. Okay, be careful you don't pinch your hand in the mechanism of the punch. They are good strong punches. So I'm just going to have to cut this one first, I think. Didn't twist the stamp quite enough. So I'll just do that one, just lining it up again with the stamped image. So just cutting that a little bit, see if I can get into that a little bit better. There we go. So we've got plenty of flowers to work with. So for the project, there is also a leaf in there, if you wanted to stamp a leaf separately as well. So we've got those done and dusted. Okay, so that's going to set to one side just for a second while we work on doing the foliage. So we're going to use soft succulent, and what I wanted to show you was that this stamp isn't actually laid out the way it's intended on the actual block. I've actually moved it around a bit to make it fit around the circle a little bit. So if I can just explain that a little bit better, it should sit something like that. Okay, but because we've got these lovely junctions in the middle, I am actually able to mount it on my block with a bit more of a curve to it like this, and stuff. So we could even go a bit more this way if you wanted it a bit more horizontal across your card and stuff. So it's quite fun that we can do that. Okay, so that will give us a bit more flexibility when we use our stamp. Okay, so this could also apply to some sentiment stamps. Obviously you want to be gentle, you don't want to bend it too much, and you want to be careful that you don't end up with like a sort of raised portion that might catch ink and interfere with your image. But yeah, so you've got a little bit of flexibility with this one to sort of make it look how you want it. Okay, so again, I'm just dropping that on and off the ink. So again, this is going to be one of my reasonably new ink pads, so one of the in colour ink pads. So these change every couple of years, so they're never that old. I've found that the Stampin' Up ink pads last a really long time. So a lot of mine are the new style, well, they are all the new style ink pad, which changed, I want to say, about 5 years ago. Wasn't that long after I joined, so I think it was about 5 years ago they changed the colours, and at the same time they changed these cases So these are all the new styles. So I think they're all about 5 years old, and I have not re-inked a single one. I do need to do Pool Party and Granny Apple, I think, but a lot of my other ink pads are still very, very much, you know, that they're still really, really well inked. So just to let you know, they last a long, long time. And I do a lot of stamping, as you know. So for this then, there's no punch or anything, so we're just going to really roughly, and I mean really roughly, fussy cut around this, you know. Okay, so it isn't going to be beautiful in any way, shape or form, but we're just going to whiz around this quickly. And like I say, it doesn't have to be super accurate. We don't need to worry and fuss about the middle too much. Okay, so I don't want you to be put off doing this. You just want to go around just quickly, and I'm going to try and do it reasonably quickly, because I don't particularly want you to be bored watching this. Okay, so and you want to cut away chunks so you can get your scissors in and stuff. So the Stampin' Up paper snips are nice and sharp, so it's nice and easy to cut away the cardstock when you've got nice sharp scissors. So I might just go into that a little bit, because what I want to be able to do is lay it on the card and give it just some movement. You'll see what I mean when I do it. So I might just sort of, you know, just do a loopy-doop there, and then like that. Alright. So, like I say, it's not going to be, you know, super fussy cutting. Joe Blackman, who helps coordinate the Inspire Create blog now, she does a lot of really super fussy cutting. I mean, so if you want to have a real expert to show you how to fussy cut, you want to watch what she does. Absolutely phenomenal. She must have the patience of the saints. But I mean, I don't mind a little bit, but some things it's like, oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, you could cut that away entirely if you wanted to and build it, you know, in separate pieces. Okay, but I thought in the essence of time and stuff, I didn't want to be sticking loads of pieces together. That's probably want to be a bit closer on that bit, but and you can tidy it up afterwards. And you might decide that you want to lop some pieces off. Like I say, fussy cutting's not for everybody. So if it's not your thing, then maybe you can skip this step and then just stamp on your card or something. There we go. So that'll do. And then we'll do the same with this one. Okay, so I did that other bit of fussy cutting off camera so that you won't watch me do that twice. So we now got both of these little elements that we've got here that we can mount onto this circle. So now, regardless of the sketch, using a circle like this is going to help you keep things sort of in bounds, if you like. So it's going to be a useful thing for you to do. So just before we do that though, I'm just going to pop a little bit of the soft succulent ink onto the back of this. I'm just going to make sure that brushes, any excess ink's been taken off there. Totally optional this bit is, but I thought a little bit of ink would help with making them pop a little bit, because they're fussy cut on the white. It'll just help them sort of lift off the background a little bit. So we'll just do that, and we can just wipe any excess ink off this mat, ready to go for next time. Okay, so there we are, and then we're going to use a little bit of Tombow multi-purpose glue. I'm just going to pop these guys onto here, so that they sort of cover that circle a little bit. Actually getting to the end of some Tombow, because I don't use a lot of Tombow. It's usually just for the smaller things where I just need to be able to, and like flowers and things like that. So go through tons of it, so it lasts me a long time. Okay, so we're just going for something that sort of fits over that circle a little bit. It's sort of looking a little bit more oval, but that doesn't matter because it just gives you options on how you want to lay it out and stuff. So that all looks really cool. And then, as you'll have seen me do before, I like to shape the flowers a little bit just to give them a bit of movement. Now you can use a bone folder, you could even use your thumb a little bit or whatever. To press that into your hand, if you're able to do so. If you have pain in your hands, that's not going to be as easy, but you can, if you use another sort of spongy sort of surface or something, a magazine, the back of a mouse mat, anything that will just give you a bit of bounce behind that, will just help you put some shape into those. Okay. Just like that, end of a ballpoint pen, a pencil, whatever, will do the trick too. Okay, so what I did was I started with these 3 large ones, because we work in this sort of, well, I say we, it's a sort of design trick to use the rule of 3s, and it's naturally pleasing to our eyes when things are in sort of odd numbers and things. Okay, so I'm going to pop these down, preferably without sticking my fingers in the glue. Just grab my tissue just to give my hands a little wipe. Okay, so we've got those popped down. Where did I put those? Put it on the side there, so it was upside down, so the glue was at the bottom. So and then I proceeded to lose where I put it. So there we go. So similarly, finger in the glue again. Oh, what a wally! See, that's why I don't use a lot of wet glue. Oh man, gosh. So again, I'm going to pop these in, and I'm looking to sort of cover some of the gaps and the sort of open spaces, if you know what I mean. So we'll pop that one in there, and obviously the wet glue gives us maintains the sort of shape that I've given things, and just gives you a little bit of wriggle time to get things right, and we can tuck them in and around the other flowers as well. So I might just hide that one under there a little bit. Just sort of press those down. This glue dries quite quickly as well, so you do, whilst you have the time to move stuff around, you don't want to be waiting around too long. Am I going to get to the end of this, do you think? Oh, I reckon it's getting there. Okay, and then again the little ones can just sort of tuck in here and there, and it just gives it this really nice full sort of bouquet look. Okay, tuck those in here and there. If you decide you don't want them all, you don't have to use them all. Okay, and in fact I might not use that last one. I think that might do. Okay, which means we can just pop this to one side. Okay, so that just needs to firm up a little bit, won't take long. I'm going to bring in Evening Evergreen to stamp that happy birthday. Again, just light tapping, just checking that. The only thing I'm going to check on a sentiment stamp is that I just don't want to have a bubble of ink caught in the openings of each of those letters. So I'm just going to pop that in, and it just fits, which is cool, into that tag there. We'll need that ink again in a bit, but I'll get that open next time. A couple of strips of Stampin' Seal on that, and we will pop our circle over the bottom there and press that down, so that's ready to go to mount on the card when we're ready. Okie dokie. Right, the background then. Now, to add the portion that I want on the left here, there are loads of ways you could do that. You could ink it, you could use DSP and that kind of thing. So, but I thought it would be fun to do a little bit of embossing. So on this one, I used one of the Splatters and Stripes, I think it's called. It's a set of 2 mini 3D embossing folders. Okay, so that was that one. This one's gingham. This is a regular embossing folder, which I'm going to place my card into. And again, you don't want to we don't want to be doing the whole lot, so I'm just going to line that up. There's a line on the bottom of the embossing folder there, which helps you line it up and keep it straight. Okay, and then we're going to run that through the stamping cut and emboss machine. So I'm going to take out my number 2 plate, because we only use this when we are die cutting. And don't forget that there is a reminder of what sandwich you need to use on the base platform of your Stampin' cut and emboss, whether that be the big machine or the small machine. So for regular embossing, I'm just going to use my base platform and sandwich this between the 2 cutting plates. Okay, so base platform, bottom cutting plate, top cutting plate, and then roll that through. It's also a good idea to do it, roll it through so that the top here goes in first rather than here, just on the off chance, especially if it's hanging off the end, that you catch the opening on the edge of your machine. Alright, so that's going to distort a little bit, but once we stick it down, it'll stay in place. Let's pop that back where it belongs on there. Okay, so that's gone further across than on the original sample. It doesn't matter. The sketch is all about just taking those elements and using them how you want them. Okay, and again, to emphasise the embossing, I'm just going to grab that green brush that I used for the circle there. And I'm just going to use the residual ink just to go over the back of that, and it's very, very subtle, but again it just adds just a bit of something to the background, and just sort of brings out some of the detail on that embossing. Totally optional, didn't have to do this, but I quite like the idea of doing it, so I'm going to pop a little bit more on the corners there. Sort of fade out to the right, there we go. So that's super cool. Right, the only additional thing is to build it, just pop our little bits of embellishment on. So plain white card base, and again, because of the texture on this, I'm just going to run some seal down that flat part, but because of the texture, I'm actually going to pop some Tombow, liquid glue on the back of this to make sure it sticks and stays flattish. And again, you know what, if it's a little bit wibbly, I think it all adds to the effect personally. So there we go. So I'm going to turn my card upside down and put the wet bit down first, just to make sure that's lined up. So it's not a full card layer, I've decided to bring it in a little bit. The sketch does have a border around it, so I opted for a slightly smaller card layer. You do the layers you want. Just going to make sure that that's not too wrinkly. Just hold that down just for a small second. Okay, this guy's actually going to go up on dimensionals just to add a little bit more depth to this. So I'm just going to pop a couple sort of on the back of that tag part there. And pop that on. And like I say, I'm just going to use the little dots that come in that set as a bit of embellishment. And you can stamp on the textured surface if it doesn't come out 100%. I think it just all adds to the effect sort of thing. So I'm not too worried if they don't quite come out the way they're supposed to. Just to sort of add a little bit of additional interest to the background there. Okay, just going to work that off. And that is it. Could have added some Wing of Stella to the flowers, add some gems. That middle portion could have been some ribbon or something like that. So, but that's my card for the Inspire Create challenges. This is challenge 135, I think. Sketch challenge, all the details over on the blog, links are in the description. Do have a look, do take part. We love seeing what you make, and then we do pick a winner and announce that on the next issue of the blog sort of thing. So lovely. I hope that's given you some ideas. Great to see you. Take care, stay safe. I'll be back soon. Bye.